One, I'm going to mark the time down. And now, let's talk about TNA. And indeed, specifically, TNA Sacrifice, the upcoming pay-per-view, and that full card, all those matches. We're going to give you our predictions, what we think is going to happen. And indeed, we'll try and be very rigorous and let you know exactly who we believe is going to go over in each of those matches. Now, the updated card for the May 16th pay-per-view is reading like this. Of course, we have Sting versus Jeff Jarrett. Now, just a few weeks ago, we had Sting, Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Hardy in a triple threat match. It was very exciting. We had some good spots, and indeed, it was cut short before Jeff Hardy was about to do that WrestleMania jump off the ladder. We mentioned it last week. Where were they going to go with this? Well, it looks like Sting will take on Jeff Jarrett. Now, I'm sure these guys have had history in WCW. Without a shadow, they've taken each other on a couple of times, I'm sure. It certainly isn't something new, but I think in this day and age, it could be very interesting. Now, Jeff Jarrett back after, well, a little bit of a sabbatical on the sidelines off of that real life angle with his now ex-wife, or at least Kurt's wife. It's often something you'd get confused there. They've both well, shall we say, been in a relationship with Karen Angle, but without a doubt, that real-life drama sort of played a part in keeping Jeff away at some of the good times in TNA, at least in the last year or two, and it's a shame. But at least he's here now for the Bischoff-Hogan regime, and like I say, he's going to take on Sting, and Sting also a guy who's been out a while. Is it a good idea to put these two guys who, well, they're veterans, but they've not been on TV, or at least worked a lot recently? What do you think the outcome will be?
Well, for certain, Sting, I don't think can work well at all these days. It's very safe, and he's limited. If you really watch it, he's limited, and it's kind of the same old. Jarrett, on the other hand, he can still work. What's interesting is on this week's Impact, I watched it with a non kind of wrestling fan, I suppose, and they commented on just take a look at that guy, like Jarrett being the guy, and they referred to him as being close to Flair's age, and that he looked a bit of a state, and it didn't even dawn on me because to me it's just Jeff Jarrett. And then when I really thought about it and watched and kind of stepped back and saw that beatdown on the stairs between Sting and Jarrett, it did kind of make me wonder, are these guys a little bit I don't know, a little bit, should they be working in the same program together? Because it's not really a big money draw, Sting versus Jarrett. Two guys that have been through the WCW stuff. Jarrett had quite a good run in WWF when it was, and Sting never jumped ship, and not the biggest fans of Vince. But insane, is it a money match? I don't really think so. Is it going to be good? I really don't think so. And you have to wonder why. Why don't they put somebody like Sting in a match with one of the younger guys, potentially a Matt Morgan, or you could have Jarrett go in there with any of those young guys, and even if they put him over, it will be a lot more entertaining than Jarrett versus Sting. And I think they kind of constantly fuck this up when they put these old school guys that you've seen a million times in matches with each other, when really they should do the old versus young kind of thing.
Yes, old versus young, it makes more sense. Veteran versus veteran is something we've seen. You put a veteran in with a young guy, and the young guy learns something. So there is something to be said for that. It's a tried and tested method, but like everybody has said about TNA recently, it's all about pushing guys who had their heyday 20 plus years ago, and I think something needs to be done there. We know now TNA is going back to Thursday nights. So Jeff Jarrett versus Sting. I am going to quickly predict that Sting will go over.
Yep, absolutely, yep.
Let's move through this. Our TNA Sacrifice predictions. Jeff Hardy versus Mr. Anderson. Well, Jeff Hardy, he's probably, maybe, at least definitely in court. Will he go to jail? We don't know. Why are you going to push a guy who is about to go to jail, if indeed he is? We don't know yet. But then, in that sense, I'm going to say that they're probably going to put Mr. Anderson over?
I think they will put Jeff over, because it doesn't really make a difference if Anderson loses or not. He's still going to run with these comedy skits and promos, and I think that these two guys are kind of friends and they're just having a bit of fun, and they will have fun at the pay-per-view, and I'm sure it's probably just that.
Now here we go again. It's a Chelsea versus Hall of Fame ring match. The Hall of Fame ring is still on television. It's still in angles and being pushed. Is there anything more to Abyss than this inanimate object? I would think so, but then they don't seem to think so in the office. At least Hogan and Bischoff think he can only get over with a Hall of Fame ring. We've discussed that and we are absolutely tired of it. But let's say this, it's Desmond Wolfe versus Abyss. Now Abyss kind of moving down a bit in that card, and certainly not up there in the main event right now, but that's good. He's had his time. Give somebody else the spotlight. So let's say if it's Desmond Wolfe versus Abyss, yeah, I kind of can see Abyss taking Chelsea, having that George the Animal Steel to Elizabeth gimmick, and I think that would run for a while. Maybe you could see him carrying her out of the pay-per-view. Let's see if that one happens, who knows. But Desmond Wolfe versus Abyss, let's say Abyss will take Chelsea.
Yeah, that would be quite entertaining, and certainly it's good to see him just keep him down a bit, because he doesn't really need to be up here, and why he was pushed is beyond me. I'm sure Hogan will explain that one, because Hogan knows best. But yeah, I think I'd like to see Wolf come out on top here. I'm not a fan of the Abyss at all, and I do like Desmond Wolfe. I think he's a funny guy.
Right, the TNA Tag Team title match coming up on Sacrifice, May 16th. Matt Morgan and a partner to be picked by Hulk Hogan, maybe that's been picked now, not sure, versus Inc. Shannon Moore and Jesse O'Neill. So those two have come up with the tattoo gimmick. They've put it together as a tag team, and wow, I read that there for the first time. You certainly look like it's a surprise as well.
No, I watched it and I was like, yeah, I like it. Inc. That is some funny stuff, I have to say. And it was only a matter of time. We copped that their gimmicks were very similar, and that the people in the back had to wonder, especially Bischoff, who is, can be clued in when he wants to be, not all the time, but yeah, they jumped with it, and a great name, and I think it'll get him over. Inc. I can see the t-shirts and the merch can go through the roof with this one, and yeah, it's just funny. It's funny stuff, and why not? It's a good spot for both of them.
Are you going to go with Inc. to go over?
I'd like Inc. to go over. Yeah, I can see them getting in the title picture with Matt Morgan. What's the plural for Matt Morgans? That would be a good. No, actually, that'd be terrible. But Inc. I think get them in a picture with Morgan and his belt.
All right, Inc. to go over, and I think I'd say Inc. as well. Shannon Moore and Jesse Neal. The TNA X Division title match, Kaz versus Doug Williams. I'll very quickly say Kaz. Just a couple of seconds left on that.
Kaz.
We're going to go with Kaz on that prediction. Finally, we've got the TNA World title match. Now, I think some spoilers I have in my mind here probably shouldn't be said. I'm not sure what's been shown yet, but maybe I shouldn't. But we have a TNA World title match, RVD versus AJ Styles. Let's just pick a name on that. We know how wrestling fans are about spoilers.
Yeah, we won't go into spoilers, so even picking a name mightn't be a good idea.
Maybe it isn't, but let's just say that I think AJ Styles is bound to be a good competitor in this match. He has recently lost that belt, and let's see what happens in the future. But I think maybe RVD. Who knows? We'll leave that one open-ended. Let us know in the comment box here on YouTube.